Huh. Well, well. Still super bright out there. Had this been the old time, this would have been like, let's see, 4:51. It would have just been 3:51. It would have a minimal amount of sunlight. Now we're going to get an extra hour. I think I'm going to celebrate to that. Beautiful. Alright, someone, cue my theme music. Welcome to a rare Monday edition of the Wanyuki Cheese Cafe, your one-stop shop for everything related to cooking, microbreweries, dumb jokes. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna learn something, you're gonna be confused, and if I've done my job properly, you'll probably walk away feeling all of the above. So today I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite Asian cuisine dishes of all time, General Tao chicken. I'm sure everyone has found one of their favorite hangouts to go get that in the past. I know I used to have one that I enjoyed a lot back in my days of university. It was close by, relatively inexpensive, but then eventually they actually tore that building down, and I don't know what happened to it. If they're going by traditional Montreal practice, it's probably going to become another condo, because clearly we need more condos built around here. Anyways, if I'm not going to be getting that for takeout, I am going to be doing the next best thing, whipping it up myself today. Yeah. I actually know there's a recipe that you can use to make it at home. It's actually not that hard to do, super tasty in the end, and if you use the right ingredients, you're not even going to tell the difference between a restaurant and your own cooking too. That's how good it is. So let's get started. And of course, because somebody was generous enough to leave a beer glass here, I'm going to need some fuel to get me cooking. Let's do this. Well, today's edition of The Brew is going to be another one from another brewer I've highlighted countless times in the past. It's from Four Origins, located right by the Lachine Canal downtown. Really good, and if you like your IPAs, especially American IPAs, then look no further, probably I'm losing my words, look no further than Who Bomb. This one is a 6.5%er, a tasty one of my go-tos if ever I'm going to be trying a Four Origins brew sometime. Now, I've already just made a distinction between the regular IPAs, West Coast IPAs, and even the New England IPAs countless times. But when I think about the American IPAs, that actually draws a blank for me. I never put much thought in what it's supposed to be. Suppose I could give this a shot to let you know what I think. Maybe actually there's a India Pale Ale brewed to drink fresh. Well, to drink cold. I suppose it's better to drink it cold than drink it at room temperature. Let's see. A bit hoppy, cloudy texture too, so it's like somewhere in between maybe the West Coast IPA and the New England IPA, so somewhere in between the Midwestern states perhaps. That's the only thing I could think of. But it's a satisfying one. And of course, just because this is the Cheese Cafe, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't come up with a dumb joke on this. So, Who Bomb? It looks like I see jet fighters on this, and they're dropping bombs shaped like hop leaves here. So I guess they're doing a bombardment with hops. Imagine that, bombarding a town with hops. Or imagine if you're bombarding a town with beer. Nobody's gonna complain because everyone's gonna love the beer. But I had a different visual in mind. Like a hoo bomb. That's supposed to be like a hop leaf with two eyes on it with feet. So it's kind of like the hop equivalent of a bomb from Super Mario Brothers. And then when you toss it, it explodes into an array of hops, beer, ale, foam, whatever. Do I have that right, people? That's my bad joke of the day. And something tells me it's not going to be the first one, too. So... Why does my time frame go off? Take 2. And yes, you're probably watching this live. So that was my first bad joke. It's probably not going to be my last. That's what I meant to say. Nevertheless, let's get our chicken started. So in terms of the cut of chicken you're going to need to make this, your best bet is to use chicken thighs. And you're going to want to save yourself a little bit of work. If you're going to be making this, get it already deboned and skinned so you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff on here. I'll admit, I wasn't a big fan of chicken thighs in my earlier years, but over the last years I've been trying this and it's become one of my favorite cuts of meat, honestly. Just because it's the juiciest part of the chicken, that's where a lot of the brown meat is located, and it just becomes super tender. Especially if you're putting it into the slow cooker. So what you're going to need then is around 1 pound of chicken thighs, and you're going to have them sliced up into about 1-inch pieces and then just tossed in the bowl. Then the next step to take care of is your breading. I've actually made this before in the past. It was a completely different recipe. It called for a lot of flour and especially a lot of sugar. But luckily there's an alternative one I'm going to be using that actually uses a little less sugar. And the trick here is you're not going to be using flour. You're going to be using cornstarch for your breading. In some cases, cornstarch is really handy for sauces and gravies. Because here's the trick. If you're to take some remaining juices after you're cooking like a meat, soup, or whatever, and then you add some flour into it, that's how you can thicken it up to make a nice gravy. But it's going to take a lot more. Cornstarch is able to thicken up in less quantities. So it would take you like maybe around 3-4 tablespoons of flour. You could probably do that in 1 to 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That's a nice little secret to use. And sometimes it could also make good breading as well. Seem to have gotten caught over here. Now the key here is you're going to need about 1/4 cup. Just get that all into your measuring cup here. And try not to make too much of a mess. There. That's a heaping 1/4 cup. So now I'm just going to dump it all in. And then all I got to do is work it around a little bit. Stir it in so it's like well coated around. And then once that's done, keep it aside. And then there's other stuff to do. But I guess first things first, I am going to toss it around. Nice little secret recipe to this. Seriously, I gotta use cornstarch a lot more in my cooking. Just keep going like that. You just want to make sure it's well covered up on every surface of your chicken. There. And you'll know you did a good job with this too, is if you look at your chicken, and it kind of resembles this. All nice light white layer on here. That's the way to get it done. As much as I want to turn off the camera to go to the next scene, I'm already coated up in chicken starch. I don't want to pass along any salmonella to anything. I'm going to wash up and we'll work my editing magic later on. Alright, we're back in business, everyone. I've got my hands washed and the magic of editing helped me out to make me feel like I never even touched this stuff to begin with. Just when I thought I was putting away the cornstarch, turns out I did need a little bit more. I'm putting in a tablespoon of this into a medium-sized mixing bowl, because as I'm letting the chicken sit, the next thing you're going to want to do is create your sauce. So what you're going to need, like I said, is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch for some thickening. And what else are they going to say? 2 teaspoons of hoisin sauce. Well, my suggestion is if you don't have hoisin laying around whatsoever, just use some basic sriracha. Hoisin is basically like a chili sauce, and this is using chili as well. So it's all going to be the very same thing. Just something to give us a bit of kick while you're preparing this. There, just 2 teaspoons. Then the rest of this is going to be in tablespoons. Soy sauce. You're going to need around 3 tablespoons worth. And if you're like me, you're probably going to want to use the low sodium one. It's still going to be a lot, but I figured that 600 milligrams per whatever is better than over 1,000. It's crazy just how much salt is in here, honestly. Okay, this one's all out. Better get the new one opened up. And just remember, when you're opening this up, always refrigerate it too, because otherwise, it's not going to be as good. I think it took me years before I realized that truth. Let's see. So 1, 2, and 3. That will work perfectly here. And with this out of the way, I'm going to be using about 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Apparently I kind of need to use this instead of regular vinegar, I guess to give it the authentic taste, which is a relief because this thing's been sitting in my pantry for who knows how long, and I don't think I've used it in a while. In fact, I'd want to say the last time I used this, I was making General Tao of all things. Sometimes I don't really care for that, like some ingredients you buy only use like once in a blue moon. But I suppose it just doesn't go bad on me then. It's all well and good. Okay, I feel like I'm missing something here. I think I know what. Yeah, I know what I was missing. I forgot about my sugar. Now this is going to call for about 3 tablespoons of sugar. And that is a relief compared to using half a cup of sugar in the recipe I did years ago. That was a little excessive. Even if it was spread around so much chicken, it is quite a bit. The only catch to this, they're saying I use 3 tablespoons, but I'm actually one of those guys that doesn't carry a sack of sugar around his pantry at all. The most I use are these cubes of sugar. I really only kept this for when I was having guests over who wanted coffee and 1 cube of sugar to go in. But I think I can deduce my way around this. So, we're gonna get a quick math lesson over here. Because let's face it can't all be about drinking and cooking and whatever. You gotta have some educational value on this channel. So one of these cubes over here is going to be about a teaspoon of sugar. Now, if you know anything about your cooking, if you're going to take 3 teaspoons, that becomes a tablespoon. So those 3 go in there, that's 1 tablespoon. Add 6 more cubes, and then you have all the sugar that you're going to need. There. Because 9 teaspoons equals 3 tablespoons. The more you know. And now that you have all those in, there's one last ingredient to put in, namely a 1/4 cup of water. And then once that is in, you just have to whisk and combine it all together and stir so that you have your sauce ready to go. The cornstarch is starting to stick to the bottom. I'll mix it as well as I can with a spoon, and worst case if this doesn't work out, I'm going to have to whip out my whisk. That might be the only way that can scrape the cornstarch from here and get it all thickened up. Ooh boy. A scent hit me, but not in a bad way. The scent that I got is essentially General Tao sauce. Man, I haven't had this stuff in ages. So this is looking really good. I am going to get my whisk out to get this stirred properly. And then once that's done, we'll keep it aside and then we can get on to the cooking part of it. The most important part. Seriously, cook your chicken. Don't give yourself salmonella. Next step is the cooking. Like I was saying, you're going to need to have a giant skillet like this and lots of oil. Because the last time when I was working with this, I needed to have a good amount of oil so that the chicken will be submerged completely underneath it. This one, it doesn't really call for a specific amount of oil, just how much oil you're going to need like after the fact. After the fact, well, I'll get to that a bit later on. And in terms of your oil, you don't need anything too fancy. Several recipes for like pad thai, General Tao, and all that stuff just ask for basic canola oil. The ones I get is like really relatively inexpensive. So you just need to have a decent amount in here. Yeah, let's say maybe half a cup of oil to maybe, well, something like that. Because again, you want to have your chicken completely submerged in this. So once that's in, I'm going to put this on to somewhere between medium heat to medium high heat. And then we'll be ready to throw the chicken in here. Just keep your distance when you're doing it. From my experience, when the oil is hot, it gets all jumpy and wants to bite you in the ass. Oil could be a deadly thing. Be safe. So you may have noticed I've been adding a little bit more oil into this. So I guess I'm going back to the old style recipe that required having this chicken submerged in a bit more oil than you expected. Because you're not really sauteing this. The key to this is that you're going to want to keep cooking this up until the chicken is crispy on the exterior. And then that's your sign that it's time to take it away and then take it off the heat. This might take a little bit longer than expected, but it's all good. It's still got time to go. I guess while I'm cooking this up, I'm going to whip up one more brew for myself. It's another one from Lagavia. That's a really high quality one. It's called Taplumeya. It's like your most best, or best of the best, I suppose they're saying. It's a New England IPA with peach and passion fruit. Typical for the New England IPAs. But I guess the only catch is, well, it's an 8%er, so definitely on the strong side. But I'm kind of okay with that. I'm on vacation, I can handle it. I'll still work this chicken before I get the food ready. Okay, I don't know about crispy, but this chicken looks like it's well done, so I guess it's time to get this off the heat. There. Reduce it for now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop it up, put it onto a plate, keep this aside for a little bit later too. Because you are going to need to recook this afterwards too. Just make sure. I'm going to not be paranoid. Actually, what am I saying? I'm just going to be careful, and I'm going to open this up to make sure it's well cooked on the interior of it, even though it's bite-sized pieces. Let's see here. Okay, that looks good. Let's get a thicker piece, just to give myself a little bit of a self-reassurance. It seems fine, but I guess I'll keep this on for maybe another couple of minutes to be safe, because it's kind of tricky for me to see. Because like I said, there's a lot of brown meat on this stuff, but it could look brown, it could look pink. I ain't going to be taking that chance. So better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're dealing with salmonella. Okay, and we're back. Like I said, better safe than sorry. So this is how my chicken is looking right now. Looks kind of crispy, very oily. I'm keeping the oily bird moniker as usual. We gotta keep up with tradition here. And then the next part is one I kind of don't like to do. I'm apparently supposed to drain the oil, pull all the oil except for 1 tablespoon used for frying. Kind of feels like a waste. So if any of you out there know how I can preserve oil for reason later on, let me know in the comments section. That section has to be used eventually, doesn't it? So I'm just going to use some cold water so that it doesn't destroy my plumbing too. Seriously, this feels like a waste. Might have a little bit more than 1 tablespoon now, but not the end of the world. Because that's the thing, like I've said before. I like cooking because you can be slightly off with your ingredients, your timing, or your whatever, and then you can still kind of get away with it. Baking, is where you have to be kind of precise. So, I put the heat back on with like approximately 1 tablespoon of oil, and then the next step here, or actually the other basic stuff I forgot to talk about, you're gonna need to mince up about 2 cloves of garlic. I've got about maybe 2.5 cloves of garlic, not the end of the world. And then roughly 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger. Actually I feel like I'm missing one more element to this. There we go. This also requires half a teaspoon of some red pepper flakes. So between the chili powder, the chili sauce, the pepper flakes, you're definitely gonna have a lot of kick to this meal. And then the ginger, well, ginger's apparently supposed to be good for you, is it not? That's what I've heard. What do you think, Yoshi? One of my cats is around here. I think he wants some food. Okay, while I'm letting this oil heat up, I might as well feed them so they stop bugging me during this segment. Right? Yep, he agrees with me. Okay, cats are fed. A little bit of excessive oil. Let's get the garlic and ginger in. They say you gotta do this for about a good 30 seconds. Just saute it up until you start to smell garlic. But once you get hit with the scent, that's your key that it's all ready to go, and keep mixing with the rest of the stuff. Yeah, this might actually be ready quicker than expected. So do that, add your pepper flakes too, and then saute it all up in the oil. Then once this is well, I guess the garlic is translucent, or you start to get the whiff of garlic really hitting you, that's going to be your sign that you got to add back the chicken, and then add your sauce, mix it all together, and then it's practically already ready to serve too. Not a bad recipe when you think about it. Definitely smells like General Tao. Only downside for me is that there's no breading on here, like not as much as I was expecting it to have. But hey, I guess if it tastes good, that's all that really matters. Next time I try this again, then I know I'm going to try to get the breading just right. So this I'm going to just let finish off, and then I'm going to need another 15 minutes because I got some rice going for this. If you're going to have General Tao, best to serve it on rice. That's always a beauty. Okay, supper time. Let's give this a good taste test. Now, I'm going to try to be authentic over here. I'm going to try to eat this General Tao with chopsticks. I actually haven't used chopsticks since probably around a year ago when I did my very last supper downtown. So my technique that I heard about, keep this one still, and you're going to use the top one to move up and down. That's where you're going to be getting your grip. So let's try this. Oh, super tasty. My one gripe about this is that my breading didn't seem to turn out the way I expected it. Whether it's because I didn't use enough cornstarch, or perhaps it's because I didn't throw it into a larger amount of oil to simulate deep frying. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but the taste, the aroma, it's definitely General Tao. You cannot mistake it for anything else. Now let's try this with rice. Yep, I'm gonna master the art of chopsticks one of these days. So while I'm enjoying this, I'm gonna be signing off. This has been another edition of the One Yuki Cheese Cafe, the Rare Monday edition. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you like what you see. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, leave a comment, send me a request. or anything else. Keep spreading the love. Everybody needs a good recipe this time of year. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. In terms of my next round of fuel, I went back to La Gabière. Oops, I think I already recorded that.